This episode from the life of Sherlock Holmes was adapted from the original radio drama produced by Tom McKnight, which aired on April 7th, 1947. High-Tech High Mesa's theater department and Team Lemonade brings you Return to the Radio with Sherlock Holmes. High-Tech High Mesa's Team Lemonade, the students who bring you the exciting adventures of Sherlock Holmes, have been hard at work creating yet another engaging exhibition. May I take 30 seconds of your time to talk about Team Lemonade's political cartoon project? The world around us is constantly engaged with politics, the past, the present, and the future. Political cartoons engage us in all forms of politics and open us to new ideas. In this engaging project, the sophomores were assigned to research any political or historical event of their choice and create their own unique political cartoon. You can view these thoughtful works of art at the political cartoon website coming soon. Now, it's time to keep that weekly appointment with our good friend and host, Dr. Watson. Good evening, Dr. Watson.
Good evening. As usual, you're punctual to the minute. Pull up a chair and make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
That's it.
I see that you have the old file box out again, Dr. Watson. I deduced that you were going over your notes on tonight's case.
Elementary, my dear. Among the records, I came across some notes of cases that I'd almost forgotten. The shocking death of Crosby the banker, the Adeltine tragedy.
Those stories sound pretty intriguing, Dr. Watson.
I shall tell them to you some other evening. Tonight, I'm going to recount an adventure that took place in the heart of the beautiful English countryside. I call it The Adventure of the Tolling Bell. Well, that story began in the small country village of Cunforth. Holmes had recently brought to a successful conclusion the affair of the barrow and furnace wheelchair murders, and we decided a few days' rest in nearby Cunforth would do us good before returning to our arduous life on Baker Street. We were staying in a small but comfortable inn. Only, on the morning of the third day, I remember Holmes and I were in the bedroom waiting for those two essentials, without which one could scarcely imagine starting the day: a jug of hot water to wash your face, and an early morning cup of tea. As we sat there at the open window, a nearby church bell was tolling a funeral bell. There must be a funeral in the village, Holmes.
An astonishing deduction, Watson.
There's no need to make fun of me. Impressive sound, isn't it?
I suppose so. Has it ever occurred to you, Watson, that the history of bells is full of romantic interest?
Well, I can't say that I thought much about it.
Almost every historical event has been accompanied by the sound of bells. They summoned soldiers to arms as well as Christians to church. They sounded the alarm in the Multan invasion, and many a bloody chapter in history has been rung in and out by bells.
Well, you seem to be a mine of information on the subject.
Yes, Watson, it's a fascinating subject.
Ah, yes, come in. Good morning, my dear.
Pardon me. I brought your tea and hot water. Mrs. Mickle said to say your breakfast will be ready in half an hour.
Splendid, Marion. Oh, the church is tolling a funeral bell. Do you know who's being buried?
That I do, sir. I wish it was me. It'll be my turn soon.
Poor little thing. I wonder what's the matter with her.
I've no idea.
Perhaps her father and mother just died. Or a young man. Yes, I bet that's it. She's a very pretty girl. She had obviously been crying when she came in. Oh, or perhaps it's her fiancé they're burying now?
Watson, you've the sentimental imagination of a true storyteller. But we've come here for a holiday. You must give your imagination a rest too. So drink your tea, clean your face, and then we'll go downstairs and investigate those kippers.
How do you like your kippers?
Excellent, Miss Mickle. Excellent. Never eaten better.
Yes, indeed. By the way, Miss Mickle, we heard the funeral bell tolling early on. Do you know who's being buried?
Yes, I do. 2 souls were being buried, and one of them was a murderer.
A murderer? Lord, in this peaceful village?
What happened, Miss Mickle?
Old Threadgold, the corn merchant, found out his wife had been gallivanting around with a young fellow from Bolton. Cut her throat, he did, and then hanged himself. More tea?
Thank you.
Shocking. So the peaceful countryside is not as peaceful as it's made out to be, Holmes.
Thankfully, a truth I've had no occasion to point out to you, Watson. Has the morning post arrived yet, Miss Mickle?
Here comes old Gilly up the path of it now. I'll see if he's got anything for you.
A murder, huh? What do you make of it, Holmes?
What is there to make of it, Watson? A jealous husband murders a faithless wife and then commits suicide. A tragic story, but a simple one.
Top of the morning to you.
Good morning, Gillian. Any letters for me today?
Hi, Mr. Holmes. 2 letters. One has got a newspaper clipping in, I think. And you got a postcard from his last dread. Want you back in London bad, Mr. Holmes. There you are.
Pardon me, Gilly, but you've been reading Mr. Holmes' private correspondence.
Bless your heart, Dr. Watson. If I didn't read other people's correspondence, how would I know what's going on in the village?
You were right, Gilly. It is newspaper clippings. And by the way, you heard about the murder of Miss Thirdgold, I suppose.
Heard about it. I told the bell this morning at the funeral.
Pardon, did you say that you're the bell ringer as well as the postman?
Bless your heart, yes, Doctor. President of the Choral Society as well as being on the village council.
You're a busy man, Gillian.
That I am, sir. Take this afternoon now. I'm to ring those bells again.
Not another funeral, surely?
No, sir. A wedding this time.
Whew, glad to hear it.
Young St. Perry is marrying the Slater girl, and you might say I'm responsible for bringing them together. Got some of the lead mixed up, I did. They looked each other up to exchange them, and presto, before you know what's happening, they're getting married. Regular Cupid, you might say I am.
Be off with you, Gilly. Other people want their letters, and Mr. Holmes doesn't want his kippers filled with your idle chatter.
All right, Miss Crabapples and Vinegar.
Uh.
One of these fine days you'll smile, and the world will come to an end. Good day, all.
What a little busybody he is. Oh, Mr. Holmes, Miss Laughlin's in the hall. The poor lady is most anxious to talk to you.
Miss Laughland.
She has a silver shop on the high street. Her only son ran away from home a few months back. I think that's what she wants to talk to you about.
Oh, no, but my friend is here for a rest, Miss Mickle.
I told her that, Doctor, but she won't go away without seeing Mr. Holmes.
Oh, very well. Ask her to come in, please, Miss Mickle.
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, why bother to see her, Holmes? It sounds like a trivial matter.
The disappearance of an only son can never be a trivial matter, Watson.
Well, I meant trivial for you, not for her.
This is Detective Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, dear.
Thank you, Emma. Good morning, Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please sit down, Miss Laughland. That's it. Now, what's the trouble?
It's Tom, sir, me only son. He left me 4 months ago, and I've not seen hide nor hair of him since.
You've had no message from him since he left.
Not one word. I'm fair out of me mind, sir.
Have you any ideas of his reason for leaving the village, Miss Laughland?
None, sir. He was a good boy, and he worked hard, and he didn't fool around with those flippity-gibbet girls in the village. I think he's met with foul play, and I want you to find out about him for me, Mr. Holmes. I've heard say in the village that you're the greatest detective in England.
Miss Laughland, I'd be glad to help you, but you've given me no clues to work with. I'm afraid that I can't do
If it's money that you want, I've got 20 pounds in me poster savings. It's all yours if you can bring my Tommy home to me, or at least tell me he's safe.
Miss Laughland, I wouldn't dream of accepting a fee. However, I shall give your problem some thought. If I arrive at any conclusions, I'll get in touch with you at once.
God bless you, Mr. Holmes.
Good day.
Good morning, Miss Laughland. Poor old thing. I don't see how you can help her, Holmes.
Nor do I, at the moment. But a young man who's grown up in a small village like this may have led a life that his mother is totally unaware of. You said that you have to work on one of your stories today, Watson.
Ah, yes. I have a letter from the editor of the Strand magazine yesterday, requesting a manuscript as soon as possible.
Splendid. Then you must stay at the inn and work on your latest masterpiece. Meanwhile, I'll scour the village to see what may be found out about the missing young man.
There you are, Holmes. I was beginning to think you got lost.
Hello, Watson. I trust you had a profitable session with the pen and paper.
I got about a half a chapter. I would have done more if it hadn't been for those infernal bells.
Ah, the wedding ceremony that the worthy Gillian told us about this morning. Oh, I'm tired.
What did you find out about Miss Laughlin's son?
Among other things, that he had a secret love life unknown to his mother, and the object of his affections was none other than the maid who brought us our tea this morning.
Mary? Did you talk to her?
No, it's a half day off and I was unable to find her, but I shall question her when she brings out tea tomorrow morning. Come in, Mary.
Oh, Oh, Miss Mickle.
Good morning. Here's your tea and hot water.
Excuse me, but where's Mary this morning?
She didn't come to work. Must be ill again. Not a reliable girl, and no better than she ought to be, if you ask me. It's no job for me to be carrying tea and hot water upstairs.
I hear the village bell tolling for another funeral. Does Conforth have one every morning? I really don't see how the population can handle it.
It's another suicide, sir.
Another suicide? Good Lord.
Old John Letterby, the baker, he was expecting some money from his son in Australia, and it never came. And they foreclosed on his shop, and he hanged himself. We'd be wanting a couple boiled eggs with your breakfast.
No, I haven't much of an appetite. Thank you very much.
All right, suit yourself.
Holmes, that woman seems absolutely heartless. She almost smacks her lips when she tells about these tragedies.
Yes, Watson, I noticed it. This peaceful village is beginning to seem strangely sinister to me. And since you have no appetite for breakfast, perhaps you'll join me on a little excursion as soon as you're dressed.
Of course. Where are we going?
To see the maid Mary. I'm anxious to talk to her before another funeral bell begins to toll.
This must be the cottage home. They said it was the one with the honeysuckle over the gate.
Yes, and there's Mary sitting on the porch.
She's got up the path. She's coming up the path to meet us now.
Good morning, Mary. I'm sorry you're not feeling well.
Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, why have you come here? Not to ask about my health. Why should a servant girl matter to important people like you?
Oh, you misjudged us, my dear. Are you sure that we came to ask?
No, Watson. Let's be honest and admit we didn't come here because of our concern for Mary's health.
Then why did you come here, sir?
Miss Lockland asked me to try to find her son, Tom.
Tom?
Yes, Tom Lockland. I thought you might be able to help me, Marion.
If I could help you, Mr. Holmes, I'd be helping myself too. Here comes Gilly, the postman. Gilly, is there a letter for me today?
No, lass. There's nothing for you again.
There must be, Gilly. There must be.
No, lass. If the letter would come, I'd bring it to you. I'd bring it to you as fast as my legs would carry me. You know that. Morning, Mr. Holmes. Dr. Watson. Left some letters at the inn for you, doctor. You had a letter from a lady.
How did you know it was from a lady?
With the smell of violets, it did. And it was written on green ink on gray paper, sir.
Amazing deduction.
That sounds like your young friend from Brixton, Watson.
How did you know about... I don't have a young friend from Brixton.
Quite. Gilly, you told another funeral bell today, didn't you?
Aye, sir. And a tragic thing it was. Paul Letterby hanged himself because he didn't get his money from his son in Australia. I found him, I did. I was the one who cut him down. And writing his post bag was what he was waiting for. The letter would have saved his life.
Great Scott, what a ghastly piece of irony.
That it was, sir. That it was. Well, I'll be on my way. Good day, Mary. Perhaps that letter will arrive tomorrow.
No, I'll never hear from Tom. Now he's ashamed of me. That's why he deserted me.
Deserted you, Mary? You speak almost as if you were his wife.
I am his wife.
What?
We were married secretly in Rochdale 5 months ago come Tuesday.
And he never told his mother?
He was afraid to. She thought I was beneath him. Tom said he'd go away and get a good job and then return here and fetch me back with him. He went away all right, but he never came back or sent a word.
When he left, did he give no clues to his destination? No hints of any kind, Mary?
Wait, he did once say, "Mary, I'm going to clear out to this puddle and make me a fortune, even if I have to bury it." And then he said, "Bury me fortune? That's a joke, isn't it?" I don't know what he meant by it.
I think I do, Mary. Watson, we're taking a short train journey as soon as possible.
Oh, where are we going, if I may ask?
We're going to the town of Barry in search of this young lady's husband.
What makes you think Tom might be in Barry, Mr. Holmes?
Because the famous fortune cotton mills are in Barry, it would seem possible that when your husband joked of burying his fortune, he was talking of going to the mills there.
Wherever he's gone, he won't be coming back for me. I know that.
Now, don't talk like that, my dear. Remember, you have friends, Miss Lockland. How longer is Holmes gonna be? He leaves me standing outside the factory gates as if I were his blasted driver. Ah, there he is. Holmes! Holmes!
Hello, Watson. Permit me to introduce to you Mr. Tom Lockland. Tom, this is Dr. Watson.
How do you do, Dr. Watson?
How do I do? Never mind how I do, young fellow. How do you do? Your behavior has been absolutely shocking. Shocking.
Now, what are you talking about?
Leaving your dear old mother and deserting your pretty little bride because you're ashamed of her? You're a scoundrel, sir. You deserve a good roughing up, and I have a very good mind to give it to you.
I don't know what you're talking about, Dr. Watson, but I don't like the words you use. And if it's violence you want, I don't mind telling you that I'm the amateur heavyweight champion of the county.
You are? Oh, no need to become aggressive.
No, let's waste time on being dramatic, Watson. Now, if you're quite finished, let's get back to the station as fast as we can. The return of the prodigal is long overdue. We must give them every opportunity to kill the fatted calf.
Ah, there's Mary's house. I'm dying to see her.
And after this reunion, Tom, I suggest that you both go over and see your mother. I'm sure she'll forgive you.
Yes, Mr. Holmes, I'll do that.
Perhaps we should have warned her. Your sudden appearance may be something of a shock.
I think it's a shock that Mary can handle. She must be out. The door's locked.
Knock again if you don't mind. She may be asleep. Great heavens, that was a revolver shot.
Come on, Watson, help me break in the door.
We will return to our story in just a moment. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind you about Team Lemonade's political cartoon project. High-Tech High Mesa sophomores are very excited to share their political cartoons with you. Each unique and original political cartoon was made to express how the students feel about a certain historical or political people and events. Make sure to visit Team Lemonade's political cartoon project coming soon. Now, Dr. Watson, that was a fine place to break off your story. You left me right on the edge of a cliff. Had the young girl shot herself?
She shot at herself, but fortunately her last-minute lack of courage made her shot go wild. Holmes and I, and the young bridegroom, of course, burst into the house and rescued the smoking revolver from her hand. I must confess the reunion between the two young lovers was a very touching sight. In fact, I felt considerably older than I was as Holmes and I stood there listening to Tom reassuring her.
Mary, darling, it's all right. I'm here.
Oh, Tom, you are here. You did come back for me. I thought you never would. I tried to kill myself, but I hadn't the courage.
Oh, there, Mary. Everything's gonna be all right now.
It will be, Tom, won't it? Oh, I'm so tired.
And now, Tom, I think the time has come to reassure Mary that you did write to her.
Of course I did, Mary, darling. I sent you money and told you that I'd be back here to take you to Barry as soon as I saved up enough.
You wrote to me, Tom?
Twice a week, and I wrote some other too.
Then why didn't I get the letters?
The answer to that should be obvious, my dear. Gilly, the postman, deliberately withheld them from you.
Gilly?
Great heavens, why?
I have my suspicions, strong ones, but I still need proof. Tell me, Mary, the day before yesterday, Mr. Threadgold murdered his wife. Do you know how he learned of infidelity?
Well, I'm not sure, but I heard Mrs. Mickle say it was through some letters that had gotten mixed up. The letters addressed to her were delivered to his office instead of at the house.
Ah, Gilly again.
Precisely. Surely the whole terrible pattern begins to take shape. Tom,
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
I'm going to lay a trap. To spring it, I shall need your assistance.
Of course, Mr. Holmes. I'll do anything.
Wait here with Mary until darkness falls. Then, hidden from view, go to your mother's house. Wait there in hiding and let nobody see you until you hear from me.
Well, I mean, since you two lovebirds have been separated for 4 months, I don't imagine that would be too unpleasant.
Quiet, Watson. You understand, Tom?
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
Good. Come on, Watson.
What's your plan, Holmes?
I'll tell you as we go. One thing I can promise you, before the sun is very high tomorrow, I will free this village from one of the most sinister powers I've ever come into contact with.
Good morning, Dr. Watson, Mr. Holmes.
Good morning, Miss Mickle.
Good morning.
I always said that Mary was a no-good girl, and now she's killed herself, but, of course, I had to come to her funeral.
Well, that's very, what's the word? Charitable, Miss Mickle. I must say, in any case, the priest says that the poor girl was of unsound mind.
Yes, madam. You can't blame her.
Well, I'll be getting into the church.
Holmes, this farce is beginning to get on my nerves. What are we accomplishing by burying an empty coffin?
You'll soon see, old chap. Come on, let's slip into the church. This way.
Where are we going, Holmes?
Up the stairs that lead to the bell tower. Here they are.
Well, supposing Gilly turns nasty when he finds out we know his secret.
Then we must handle him to the best of our ability, Watson.
Well, I must say, I don't relish the thought of a tussle high in the bell tower of a church. This man must be insane.
Obviously, that's why his power must be destroyed. This door apparently leads to the bell tower. Keep your wits about you, Watson.
Good morning, Greene. Mr. Holmes, Watson, you've come to see me at work? That's nice of you. Not often I get company up here.
We haven't come up here to see you at work, Gilly. We know your diabolical work only too well.
Yes, Gilly, we know your secret.
Now, what secret's that?
You're mad with power, Gilly. You've tried to control the destiny of this village in your position as postman, and you thought you had the power to give life and death.
That I am, sir. It's a great power. Makes a man feel good, almost like a god, you might say.
That's sacrilege, you scoundrel. You were responsible for the murder of Miss Threadgold.
Aye, sir, that I was. And for the old man hanging himself.
You were responsible for John Letterby's suicide, weren't you?
That I was. Letterby tried to vote me off the village council. I swore I'd make him pay for it. And I did.
Your reign is over, Gillian. You'll never toll a bell again. The only one you'll hear will be a prison bell.
You can't touch me, Mr. Holmes. You've got no proof. There's nothing you can do.
Don't be too sure. I have enough influence to take your job away.
You take me away from these bells? I live for these bells. You want to take me away from them?
You couldn't live without the power they give you, could you, Gilly?
You're trying to destroy me.
You are already destroyed, Gilly.
Yes, you've already failed. Mary's alive.
Alive? But the coffin they're burying down there
It's full of stone. You'll soon be the laughing stock of the village, Gilly.
Don't ever laugh at Gilly. You can't catch me, Mr. Holmes. I'm beyond you still.
He's reached the last room of the bell tower.
Come back, Gilly. Come back.
He's mad as a hatter.
Quite.
What's he gonna do up there? He might set fire to the steeple. Could make any madness. I'm gonna fetch him, Holmes.
No, Watson. He drew a knife as he fled, and with that rickety staircase and the narrow opening leading into the chamber, you'd never stand a chance. He'd get you on the first ledge.
So then how are we gonna get him down?
There's only one way. He's in a tiny loft containing his beloved bells. We'll soon see how much he loves them at close quarters. I doubt if he can even stand the nose in that confined space. Now, where's that bell rope?
Come down, Gilly. Come down from there.
Stop! Stop bringing me bell!
Not until you come down, Gilly.
Stop bringing them! I can't stand it! You'll make me mad!
You are mad, Gilly. Mad with power. Come down here, I say.
I'm coming! Ah!
Great heavens, he hurled himself out of the bell tower. He hasn't the chance of surviving that fall.
I had no intention of causing that unhappy man to jump to his death, Watson. Though I can't help but feel that his poor demented mind may find a happy oblivion this way, at least rather than in the confines of an asylum.
Yes, you're probably right, Holmes.
It's been a shocking case, Watson. Shocking. And once again, it proves the old saying that violence does intrude recoil upon the violent, and the schemer falls into the pit in which he digs for another.
Well, Doctor, that was quite the ending. Never saw that coming.
Yes, it was unexpected. The following day, the story was in every newspaper from London to Liverpool.
You read the papers every day?
Why, of course, one must stay informed. However, if I am being honest, the part of the newspaper I like most are the cartoons.
Really? Well, have you heard of Team Lemonade's political cartoon project?
No, I haven't. Enlighten me.
The sophomores over at High Tech High Mesa have been working very hard to create and present original political cartoons based on historical or political events and individuals. They did a lot of research to create these beautiful cartoons, and I'm sure they would love to share them with you and our listeners if you'd be keen enough to come.
I would love to see them. They sound so interesting.
Experience Team Lemonade's political cartoon project coming soon. You won't regret it. Tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure was performed live and was adapted from a radio drama produced by Tom McKnight based on an incident in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's story, The Golden Prince Nest. This episode was directed by Damon J. Shearer and assistant directors Elizabeth Gomez and Edward Hutchison, with special thanks to Foley artist Ellie Maitland. Take a moment to complete the survey linked in the description below. We would love to hear from you. Join us again at 5:30 for yet another Sherlock Holmes drama, A Scandal in Bohemia, right here on Lemonade TV. This has been a High Tech High Mesa production.